Welcome to the Quick Talk Podcast with Joshua Latimer, where we discuss business, life, family, faith, struggle, fire, pain, and ultimately winning.
It's time to take massive action. Look, I can't work harder on your life or business than you do. It's ultimately all on you.
You know, God created all the food the birds would ever need, but he doesn't put it in their nest. You've got to go get it.
10 out of 10 people die. So how about doing something today that actually matters while you still can? Hey everybody, welcome to the Quick Talk Podcast. Josh here. I am so excited that you're with me today because you have really stumbled upon an amazing episode. You don't even realize it yet, but you're going to be like laughing and crying and your mind's going to be blown on this particular episode. Lucky you, because I'm joined by my good friend Stacey Martino, whom I met through Russell Brunson's Inner Circle in Boise, Idaho. You know, when I first met her, I'm like, wait, she does what? She does relationship, helps people with, like, well, how does that have to do with Inner Circle? How is this a business high achiever? And then something unique happened. I met her. And within 60 seconds, I immediately understood the mind that this woman has. Her and her husband, Paul, have a large business. They've already done over $2 million halfway through the beginning of this year. And they've helped people work on relationship-related things. I'm going to let her explain it, for over 20 years and been doing it as a business for 5 years. She's super funny, and she's actually the person that I've told you guys about when it came to the muggles and your entrepreneurial relationships, right? And how you need to parse those out. So I thought that was amazing. Stacey, I know you're very busy. You do a lot of events. Thank you for being on our show.
Awesome. I'm so thrilled to be here. Thanks for having me, Josh.
I'm excited because I have a sweet spot in my heart, like, for relationships and entrepreneurism and how it all mixes together. And we pretend that it doesn't overlap or that we can leave it at home or whatever. Tell us a little bit about what you're doing and where you're at right now.
Yeah, absolutely. It's so funny that we pretend that, right? Because society has definitely pushed us into that from decades past. Like, work is work and home is home, as if that could possibly still exist. And it doesn't. But so what we do is we help people create their unshakable love and their unleashed passion, all in a way that, using our unique methodology, we don't do any couples work, because couples work is broken. It doesn't work. We work with one person, and literally it only takes one person to transform any relationship. We've been blessed to save over 10,000 marriages at this point and help hundreds of thousands of others. And literally what we're doing is we're giving people the relationship education that no one ever gave them, that everyone deserves, to stop this unnecessary suffering, because we've literally already solved this one.
Oh, I have goosebumps right now, and I'm serious. I actually got them because, like, Alex Sharfin talks about the EPT, the entrepreneurial personality type, and people like me, because I am that guy, you can feel alone, like you're on an island. And I have a really, really great marriage today. But years ago, like halfway through, it was super horrible and hard for a long time. And yeah. I was terrified to go to, like, counseling, because as a man, I'm just being honest, like, my perspective at the time was like, why in the heck would I go to that when I'm going to walk in there? They're going to tell me how crappy I am, how I'm failing at life, how I need to have balance, even though I don't even understand what that means, that I can't create momentum and grow businesses and chase my dreams. But I just felt like they would just beat me up or something.
100%.
How is what you do different than that?
Yeah, and, you know, I love, my husband Paul talks about this all the time, and literally has used some of the same words that just came out of your mouth. First of all, couples counseling and couples therapy is so broken. It's literally destroying marriages at such a rapid rate, it's hard for us to keep up cleaning up the debris. Literally, in the last few decades, more than 80% of couples therapy is ending in divorce. Huffington Post called couples therapy the kiss of death for marriage. 80%.
Good grief. That's higher than just the normal average.
That's exactly right, my friend. And it's terrible because nobody tells us this, right? So good, regular, normal people like you and me think, oh my God, if things get so bad, okay, as a last resort, what do you do, right? You head to couples therapy like, I have to feel like first of all, at least I have to feel like I did everything. But at the very least, I have to feel like I checked all the boxes, right? I don't want to be that person who broke up my whole family and felt like I didn't do everything I possibly could have, because that kind of regret can eat you away. But then you go to something that literally is the thing that's killing a lot of relationships because of exactly what you just said. Very often when you do couples work, one person aligns with the counselor completely, the other person feels ganged up on, and it fails, right? Because one person is told, both people tell their side, they say who's right. The therapist aligns with one person and tells the other person, dude, you just have to compromise, like you have to change. And that is such a busted, broken model. That's what we call demand relationship, when one person is unhappy and asks the other person to change to make them happy. And that literally has been broken for about 40 years. And people just keep trying to up their game of, okay, then I'll try to shame you into changing for me. I'll try to guilt you into changing for me. Okay, I'll try to really strong on you. I'll withhold. I'll punish you. Like, I'll do whatever I can to try to get you to do this because you're making me crazy. I need things to change. And all of that, that's all that's been modeled to us for decades. And it's so busted. It's so broken. Nobody wants to be controlled. And no one ever created an unshakable love from that kind of a tactic. And that's
my word. That is fire. I love it. And I think what you said is even probably more true for an entrepreneur, because you said nobody wants to be controlled. Nobody wants to be manipulated, especially the kids that like struggled in school because they were bored and they had ADD and they started 16 businesses by the time they were 25, right? Like that person definitely doesn't. Yeah. And then another question I had just because I'm curious if it's okay is like, when you started doing this as a business, because obviously you have huge passion. When I met you and Paul, it was the authenticity, this is like your heart to do this and help people, but you did it for a long time. You didn't really monetize it. When you switched over to that, like, what's it like getting people to, I don't know, be open to the idea of like investing in something like this? Like, we have no problem buying an expensive vacation or buying things like material things, but how did you monetize this the right way? Is the pain just so great that people are just looking for answers? How does that work from a business perspective?
Yeah, and that's kind of how we kind of found ourselves in that position where this has always been our mission, and we did everything we could to help people. But when like you have a huge mission like this, you can only help so many people when you're both working full-time jobs also, right, to pay the bills and do what you need to do. And finally, when we realized, okay, we have to jump in. If we're going to really serve the amount of people that deserve it, we have to turn this into a business. Paul and I knew nothing about business. Like, that was not our modality. I often say there is no relationship that I can't handle, but I don't know anything about business or marketing. I had to learn all of that as a student, and basically did it because that's how we're going to have an impact in helping the people who need us. And the way that we found, so we kind of stumbled our way through in the beginning. And in the beginning, the people who are at threshold, who are in so much pain in their relationship that they're basically facing the end of the rope, they're the first people to say, all right, what do you got? Like, I'll do anything, so I might as well try your thing. And we started proving out our model over and over until people who are more like us as entrepreneurs or as growth-minded people started to think, wow, I model the best when it comes to my business. I model the best when it comes to my mindset. I model the best when it comes to my money, my health, and everything else. Why would I not put at least that much effort and strategy behind the most important relationship that will ever exist in my life, my marriage? And so for people like us, it became very synergistic because Paul and I have a proven model, our 8-step relationship transformation system that we built, and you can literally just plug it in and transform your relationship regardless of where you are, to create your unshakable love and your unleashed passion. And when you show things like that to people who are already of a mindset that this is not my unique brilliance. I didn't come to this planet to figure this out this go round. I have other unique brilliances. So tell me what you've done. Tell me what you've got, how it's working, and let me plug it in and let it work for me. Those are the kinds of people that really gravitate to us first. But we're working to also find ways to reach everybody, to start helping them realize that the old model is just broken and everybody deserves this kind of relief.
Oh, man, that's so good. Let me lay down one of the scenarios from my world, and you tell me if I'm totally weird, but Usually when we feel alone and weird, we find out that everybody's like that, but we kind of isolate, right? Okay,
sure.
so like when I was building the business, okay, so when I had massive self-limiting beliefs and I didn't come from wealth at all, very blue-collar, borderline poverty for many years in our family growing up.
Same.
But I had like visions of like wanting to do big things and wanting to change the world and all this stuff, but I didn't really believe it. So when I started my business, my wife supported me completely. And I went in very deep. And a lot of the reasons I worked so hard and became obsessed was rooted in fear. But deep down, everything I was trying to do really was to impress my wife, if I'm honest. But it leads to the age-old argument of, you're never around. All you talk about is work. And then I'm like, don't you know everything I do is for this family? The classic husband-wife thing.
100%.
What do you say to someone who's living that right now on a practical level?
Absolutely. So first of all, it's super, super common. The first thing to understand is there's absolutely nothing wrong with you. The way you're seeing it is exactly the way that most people in your shoes are seeing it. And here's the big piece that's missing from the puzzle for both the masculine side and the feminine side. You only have your set of goggles. You can only see the relationship and the dynamic from your set of goggles. And your partner is a different species than you are. Write that down, tattoo it on your arm, literally every single day, read it out loud 25 times. Your partner is a different species than you and literally has a completely different set of lenses. And so every time you get frustrated or feel like you're saying the same thing 1,000 times and they're not getting it, remember that your partner doesn't even hear the same vocabulary words that you say with the same meaning that you hear. So it is completely off of a woman's radar that the way a man provides and shows his love for a woman is by providing and protecting. That's how he does that. And for her, she's like, well, I need that. It's a requirement. And what I want is to feel that connection, to feel your presence, to feel that I'm number one. And a man has zero awareness that it's even possible as a skill set to be able to provide and protect her the way that you need to while you're building your kingdom, and also be intensely present for her and show her that she is number one. Nobody ever gave us that skill set, which is why Paul and I teach every single one of our classes and everything we do together so that you hear the feminine and the masculine. It is literally just a skill set. So many men, you're logical creatures. You just want the solution. You want it to be fixed. You want it to be solved. And the way to solve it is not what you think in your mind, which is there's only so many minutes of the day. And if I'm going to rock this business, then I can't give the majority of my minutes to my family or my spouse. It's not about minutes. It's the difference between intention and attention. Ooh. Your attention has to go wherever it has to go. We're all busy. We all have crap to do. Just get your stuff done. But when you live from the intention that your partner knows that she is number one, bar none, then her entire energy will shift and relax. And not only will you have her support in what you're doing, but she'll be your biggest champion saying, go out and do more. When Paul and I first started having our relationship, Paul was 100% just like every other man, building his kingdom, making his mark, doing what he needs to do to be able to say, look, I have to provide for you. I have to show you that I got this. Like, I need to give you something. I need to make something of myself. This is what I do for you. And when we were going through that, the way that he shifted when work was always first for him, that was always a battle for us. Work was first. There wasn't any question that I was second. When he learned how to flip that, he was able to convey that, no, Stacey is first. And then I'm living it out, what we decided together as a team in my work day. And if this is not going to work for us, then we will sit down and redecide together what is the right thing for us. And so that she knows that she's number one. And then I will continue to go live that out. But my wife knows that she is number one and everything I do is for her. And that's just a skill set. Just takes a little bit of work and you can get it done.
Yeah, man, that's so true, because I always say, every Rocky needs an Adrian.
Amen.
And like, when men watch movies like Braveheart and Rocky and all these things, like our deepest desire is to go club things and drag it home and conquer. But if we don't have someone to drag it home to who's not passive aggressive and actually is on our side,
Amen.
then it's like it's completely
No meaning.
like empty and horrible.
That's right.
And it's a nightmare. But you're right, and it can shift and it can pivot quickly. So when one thing I noticed with you, Stacey, when I met you was, well, you walked up on stage at Inner Circle to give your presentation. I had no idea. And within 5 seconds, you had complete, total command of the room with total certainty. You're very, very skilled presenter. And I was like shocked. I was like, holy crap, who is this person, right? How did that happen? I mean, what's your background in how you learned how to clearly articulate what you're doing? And I don't know, like everything involved with the presenting and sales side of getting people into your tribe. How did you learn how to do that?
Well, I am blessed and lucky enough to have been studied with and trained and certified by Tony Robbins for the past 23 years. And so I've just literally done this stuff over and over and over and over to perfect my ability to help people break through, to clear through whatever the false limiting beliefs are and break through to integrate yourself and your blueprint into what you want to live a life by design. And through that level of strategic intervention, which is the methodology that Tony uses, which is what I use, I'm able to do that for people. Basically, having done it over and over again, we do live events in front of tremendous crowds. It doesn't matter whether it's one-on-one or with thousands of people. It's a skill set of being able to do that and be able to deliver on that. And that's the strategic side of it. The content side and the passion and the certainty that you hear is from basically having lived this. Literally everything that Paul and I teach, and at this point, the Relationship Development Toolbox has about 300 or so strategic tools, like real simple stuff that regular people can implement in their daily lives to solve whatever kerfuffle you have that's going on. We've already solved it. And literally, Paul and I developed every single one of those ourselves. And so that's why I say there is no relationship situation that we can't handle. We've literally done this tens of thousands of times, and we're here to help people get that solution. Nobody should be without it.
It sounds like with couples counseling, you're trying to get someone to tell the other person to change. But then one thing you mentioned at the beginning is that you'll actually work with people alone. You don't work with them as a couple. You work with them alone. So does that imply that the way to fix this is for us to be the ones that change? And what if we're really mad at the other person and we're certain that they're totally being unreasonable? What do we even, like, what do we say? I mean, we want to explode, but instead we just do self-development. What if we're certain that it's all them, even though it's not, and we both know that? What do you say to someone that feels like that?
Well, give me an example. I'll show you.
Well, like, for example, you have the wife that in the business owner's mind does not support them, is constantly nagging them, complaining that they're coming home late. But the business owner is looking at the checking account and is trying to hold it all together in their mind, right? They're the glue. They're Hercules holding the building up from collapsing, right? And so they want to come home and have space to rest, but it's just nag, nag, nag. You don't do this. Why didn't you do that? You didn't take out the thing. That guy feels like, why doesn't my wife just support me? But what you're saying is he's the guy that needs to change first. So in the midst of him being all stressed out and angry, and ready to give up towards his wife, what do we tell that guy to, like, how do we pitch it? Like, no, it is you got to change or whatever. Like, I don't know. Like, what can you say to that scenario?
Well, there's two sets of tools that we teach. One set of tools are inside the moment strategies, inside the moment when the kerfuffle is happening. And there's another set of tools that we teach that are outside of the moment strategies, things you need to implement outside the moment to fix that so that kerfuffle doesn't keep happening. And what happens in that situation was extremely common is, again, you're only seeing the dynamic from your set of lenses. And the challenge is, I promise you, everyone who's listening right now, I promise you with 100% certainty, if your spouse does not support you in something that's very important to you, I promise you that there is something in their world that you are also not supporting with 100% of your time, attention, and energy that is important to them.
That's a mind bomb.
It never fails.
Yes, everybody's just selfish. Like,
Yeah.
I have 5 kids, Stacey, and like, I didn't have to teach my kids how to not share. I didn't have to teach them
it's
how
not an
to,
option,
they
right?
already knew how to lie and be selfish, like right out of the box. It's like we have to learn how to not be like that. It's really crazy. And then on the flip side, because I'm not trying to attack wives, because actually they're victimized by entrepreneurs making excuses, honestly, in my experience. But you have and whether it's husband or wife, whoever's the non-entrepreneur at home, they don't feel like they're number one, like you said, and then they get mad at the other person. It's like when they talk to them, they're not getting through. I know for me, when I was in work mode, my wife would very clearly communicate, I need time with you, I need this, but it's almost like it wouldn't go in my brain. And so the inside the moment and outside the moment strategies for each party help fix those things on both sides, correct?
Yeah, what happens is inside the moment, it's about not reacting and learning how to respond in a way that de-escalates the negative energy to bring out the best in each of you. But that will never fix this unless you're implementing strategies outside the moment, which is to understand what is important to your partner and learn how to meet their needs, not just demand that they meet your needs when you're not even seeing the empty buckets that they have that need to be filled. That is a broken model. That's exactly what I'm talking about. You can't demand your way to a magnificent love, folks. You can't just tell someone, you got to support me because this is the right thing. They have empty buckets. They also have very clear views on what is the right thing. Alignment has not been created, and that's what happens outside the moment. You don't align when one person is triggered or you're both triggered. Only crap comes from that zone. Magic does not come from that zone.
Oh,
but
gosh,
outside the moment, you need tools and strategies. We have a step-by-step alignment process that people can go through to learn how to align on parenting, household, money, family of origin, work, all the big things that we never actually strategically design. If we try to run our business with this kind of accidental alignment, hey, let's all just work together and I'm sure we're going to do things the same way. So let's just jump in. No business would survive 10 days like that. And yet we enter into marriage saying, oh, because I love you, we're totally going to see parenting the same way. So let's just do this. No, that's crazy.
That's true, though. We don't think about it.
You have to actually design this alignment and get to agreement outside the moment. So inside the moment, you're living it out instead of trying to gain the other person to do things your way inside the moment. That's a recipe for disaster. Do you see the difference?
Oh, man, big time. It is weird that we're not strategic on the most important relationship in our life, but we are with fitness or our business or a variety of other things. People will sign up for trainings on how to get better at golf, and they're not even the thought's not even in their head about how to be a better husband or how to whatever. I think that me and my wife always had a running joke. We always said, hey, for us to have a successful marriage, we need to really try to outserve each other. And I would always say, okay, you go first. It was like a joke. No, that's really cool. Can you talk briefly, too, about the Muggles? Because I just love that so much. I've referenced it like several times on my show after I got back from Boise. And I totally gave you credit. I'm like, this lady, Stacey, she's amazing, the Muggles. But we have this deep need to feel validated from people that can't comprehend who we are in the first place, meaning non-entrepreneurial people. And you did this beautiful job of explaining in the one hand you have, can you just unpack that?
Yeah, absolutely. Just real quick, we have this tool called right hand, left hand. And we try to make simple tools that you can remember at any time. So think of it in the right hand, you have your friends and family group. They're the largest group of people in your world. They're not on the development path. They're not entrepreneurial. They're just friends and family. In your left hand, you have your seventh power, right? These are the people that you grow with. These are the people that develop. These are the people that when you take a course or go to an event or read a book, it's the first person you want to send that book to, right? It's the first person you forward that video to. It's the person that if they're further up the mountain from you, they'll reach that hand down and pull you up to your next level. It's also the same person that if you're not reaching your potential fast enough, they'll get behind you and kick your butt all the way up that mountain if that's what they have to do. And what happens is pain happens when we're with our friends and family. We're in our right hand, but we're interacting with them as if there should be our seventh power. And when we do that, pain happens on both sides, right? It's kind of like that Harry Potter reference of being with the muggles, but you're a wizard. Like, that's always going to be pain. It's pain for your friends and family because they feel like, hey, you think you're better than me? Like, why you have to talk about this? Like, I don't need that. There's nothing wrong with me. And it's painful for us because they don't see us. They don't validate us because they're so stuck in being defensive while we're talking. They're focused on them. Now, here's the thing, folks. If they're focused on them and you're focused on you, if both people show up in any relationship to take, there's nothing there. Someone has to show up to give. And if you even have a seventh power in your life, if you're even lucky enough to awaken, like we're talking about right now, and be able to have a seventh power in your life, then if you draw a line on your finger, from your left hand up to your heart and back down your right hand, you were given a seventh power. You created a seventh power so that you would fill up from your seventh power, which fuels your heart, which is your fuel and your support. That's who validates you. That's who you can tell about your book and whatever else you're working on and your breakthrough and how you increased by what percent that month. And then you show up in your friends and family in your right hand to give, right? Fill up from your seventh power and give compassion from that to your friends and family in your right hand instead of showing up to take or needing to be validated or needing them to get on board. Just be the example and show up with compassion. And that's how you can, coexist in a muggle world without closing everybody out of your life or causing so much kerfuffle. Again, it's that demand relationship paradigm, that old broken paradigm of, well, you have to you have to totally validate me. Like, how come you don't get it? Why don't you see this? How come, why are we talking about this problem again? I told you how to fix this 100 times ago on Thanksgiving. Just don't invite Aunt Betty. Like, every single time we do that, it's demand relationship. We're unhappy and we're asking someone else to change to make us feel better. But the truth is, if you're going through life needing anyone or anything else to change in order for you to get to happy, you're screwed because life doesn't work that way.
Whoo, doggy. Okay, everybody, thanks for stopping by. I'm just going to end the podcast. No, that is so true. Even in business networking, if you show up, really, I guess with any relationship or especially new relationships, if you show up to take, people aren't stupid. All of us can sniff those people a mile away, right? You can smell them. They have a stench, Or you go to a B&I group even, or the Chamber of Commerce, and you're just looking like, gimme, 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 gimme. When the real path to just success, quote unquote, whether it's business through monetization or relationships, is to show up and say, how can I give? That is so profound. Thank you for sharing that.
Absolutely. And you have the perfect example right there. Because if you've awakened to this already in your business, with your kids, in any other relationships in your world, the only difference between that and your relationship with your spouse, your relationship with your folks, the relationships where you have kerfuffle, is that you're carrying an unrealistic expectation of what you should be getting from that relationship, and you're not. And that's why you're kind of acting out.
Oh man, that's so good. I'm a quote junkie, and one of the quotes that I use regularly is that all conflict is a result of unmet expectations.
Amen.
And I spent so much time thinking about this one day with my wife. I'm like, let's think of some conflict that does not fall into alignment with that phrase. And we just had all these weird scenarios, from dumb little things to major things, and I couldn't think of one. I mean, it's because we can't see in the other person's brain on what their expectation even is, right? So, the other day, or actually yesterday, there's this weird three-way stop, and I had my van with my 5 kids and my wife, and we were driving, doing fun stuff, and I pulled out in front of someone, or someone pulled out in front of me, and I was like, well, that guy's a jerk. He didn't even stop. He just rolled through the stop sign. And my wife said, honey, that road doesn't have to stop. You're the one that's supposed to stop. And in an instant, I'm like, oh, okay. So I could have lived the next 10 years thinking, well, that guy was a bad driver, when really it was me the whole time, right? Because I didn't have context. I didn't understand all of the facts, And there's so much misunderstanding. It's crazy.
That is the perfect example, Josh. I've got to use that the next time I teach. Literally, Paul and I teach more than 100 of those exact scenarios where masculine and feminine completely see the same exact moment differently. And it's totally off of a man's radar how his wife is interpreting that, totally off of a wife's radar how her man is interpreting that. And as soon as you get it, it's literally like a dictionary. Be like, you never have that kerfuffle again because you totally know how they're going to label it.
Oh, that's so good. Can you tell me more about, like, I know you have some live events coming up. You do some online teachings and trainings. We have a lot of married people that listen to the show. What should they do? Do you have a book? Do you have a website? Do you have, like, any videos they can watch or webinars or anything? How can they learn more about this stuff?
Absolutely. Well, the path that I most recommend is we do a 2-hour training class, literally mapping this out and teaching you what you need to create your unshakable love and your unleashed passion, even if your partner refuses to change, right? That doesn't matter. It still will work for you.
That's a huge claim, too. I mean, really, that is. Because that's why people don't pursue help, I think, because they're convinced. Right. They're convinced. It's unfixable because of the other person.
This is hysterical, Joshua. You'll really appreciate this. The very first time I ever met Russell Brunson in person, I got up. We were in a small room of people. Maybe there were 20 people in that room. And we got up and he wanted each of us to just say a little something about us. And I said exactly that. That's what I do. And he laughed out loud, chuckled in disbelief. And he mumbled well, if you can do that, then I guess you'd be a billionaire. And I laughed back. I'm like, well, 10,000 marriages saved so far and we're keep going. So I guess we got it. He's like, I cannot wait to hear you speak. You're next. Right?
Right, because it's a presupposition that we all walk around with, that we determine if someone else is fixable or not without even being inside their head or understanding what their pain is or any of that. We're just like, oh, you're a lost cause. You're impossible. You never listen. We use words like never. You never talk, about me. You always talk about work. You never. Yep. There's so many nuances to this. It is a pretty big topic. So
it is. So I would say start with that 2-hour free training class. You can register for it any time at relationshipbreakthroughsecrets.com. You can go to that training class, and then you absolutely can, if you want to. We have an 8-week quick start course that's online, which you can actually find out about in that 2-hour live training class, and then we do a live event once a year. It's an unbelievable 3-day live immersion experience, relationshipbreakthroughretreat.com, which is actually coming up July 30th through August 1st. This year, people fly in from all over the world every year to attend this live immersion experience. It is not a couples event. It is literally designed for one person. Although if your spouse is into it, they can absolutely come too. Just don't sit together. And it's just off the hook. It's incredible. It literally will catapult your relationship to the next level in just those 3 days. So however we can help you, just let us know. And you can always find us at relationshipdevelopment.org. That's our website. There's videos, there's articles, all kinds of stuff. Just let us know how we can help you.
It's so fascinating that you make people separate. That is just from a business standpoint, the reason your business is working, you're gifted at communication, obviously. You understand the model and have massive proprietary tools to help people that actually work and are proven in the marketplace over decades. But you also have a complete new opportunity. That's what I think is really cool about this business that I didn't understand initially is this is a blue ocean because you're framing it totally different. Your process is different from my presupposition that the way you fix relationship is to either A, endure the pain and keep your mouth shut and just hate your life, or B, go to counselor, B, robot, have him yell at you, then he gives you things that you have to fix. That's it. No one knows there's a third path, that there's these practical tips and that you don't have to be in this confrontational environment with your spouse and that's crazy. It's super, super, super awesome. And I know that's why your business is doing good. And then the last question I want to ask you before I let you go was just how important, first of all, how cool is it that you have this massive business and it's 100% in alignment with the core of why you were put here on this earth? What is that like? And then how important is that for other business owners? Do you think that ties into your success?
Oh, there's no question. Literally, our entire success was literally handed to us step by step by God. This is absolutely a calling for us. 100%. Paul will tell you, I was dragged into this kicking and screaming. I did not want to be this person. Like, I knew that we had this magic touch and ability to solve any relationship situation, and we were helping people as a mission all the time. And when it started to become apparent, like, you need to help more people, I literally used to say this on a daily basis. I used to say, come on, God, like, people need this help. Find someone, like, somebody has to do something. And eventually one day kind of woke up to like the word coming down, like, hey lady, it's you. When are we going to go? Like, let's do this. And I'm like, damn, it's me. And so starting it took a lot of courage and a lot of faith. And I literally have always come, my husband and I have always come from the premise that we will do whatever we can to help as many people as humanly possible while we're on the planet this go round. And whatever opportunities are brought to us that are in alignment with who we are, what we feel called to do, we will say yes, because we know they're coming to us through that divine order. And we're just so grateful. And because we do that, including stretching ourselves, including investing in marketing education, investing in business opportunities, including everything that we don't know how to do, have never done before, and still manage to say yes to, because that is our job to do. It's truly, there is nothing greater. I drop to my knees in tears all the time, thanking God for this opportunity to be used in this way and to serve in this way. And I will say that, and I've said this many times, there are two kinds of entrepreneurs. There are entrepreneurs like I used to be, which is, Paul used to say, I had $1 million drawer. Like, if one idea doesn't work, just open Stacey's drawer. There's another $1 million idea, pull it out of there and start it up. But when you don't have a purpose tied to your business, you will not have enough fuel to overcome the speed bumps and the blocks and the bumps and the problems and the challenges that are on your yellow brick road on the way to your odds.
Yes.
When you have this kind of passion, right? Like being the champion for the small business owner, right? Being the champion for those people who are trying to have that kind of home business or whatever it is for you. For me, it's being, Paul and I are the champions for the regular family. And because it's about them and not me, when something scares the crap out of me, when something stretches me, when something requires a huge leap of faith, I do it for them and not for me in faith. And I'm able to get past it. But if you're just doing it for money, or if you're just doing it because it's cool, when those things come to test you, you'll just jump off and go do something else.
Oh man, like if people, like, this ending part of this podcast, what you just said could be the most profound thing of all, because this is applicable universally across all businesses. Stacey, when I coach and help small business owners, the first thing out of my mouth is, why are we doing this? What are we trying to do here? What is your mountaintop? What is your why? Like, what's where are we trying to go, and why do we want to get there? Because for the exact reasons that you just articulated. You will not get out of bed when times are hard if you don't have that fire in your belly. And even when you have the fire in your belly, you'll get discouraged and have days, but it's not permanent, because it's not about you. It's about the thing. It's about the mission. And oftentimes the people that listen to this show, they're not moving towards something in their business. Usually they're moving away from something they don't want, rather than something going towards something they do want. And that's kind of profound, right? Like, they had a boss and the guy was a jerk and he's dumb. I'm smarter than him. I'll start my own business. Well, that type of mindset isn't going to build you like a kingdom in your own universe according to your own calling. Like, you have to find that fire. You got to figure out your why. It's so obvious why you're contagious, Stacey, and why you and Paul are doing so very well. I hope you guys crack 5 million this year. That'll be so awesome. You're going to get 2 Comma Club X in short order. And that's awesome. But everybody, I want you to go to relationshipbreakthroughsecrets.com. And she has a 2-hour training giving you more of the actual tactics and the tips, and you'll learn a whole bunch of stuff, and you can apply it today. You can learn about inside the moment tips and outside the moment tips and all kinds of other secret, magical, unicorn, fairy dust things that actually work, which is awesome. And Stacey, thank you so much for coming on here. I'm so grateful. Hope you have a great day.
You are so welcome. Thanks for having me. This was an unbelievable conversation.
Thanks, Stacey. Hey, thanks for hanging out, friends. And from all of us here at the Quick Talk Podcast team, we hope you loved today's show. We hope that you were inspired to become a doer and not just a listener. Apply what you've heard today in your own business and watch things change for the better. Lastly, remember that all the money in the world can't save your soul. Seek first the kingdom of God, my friends. We'll see you next time.
For more information about the Quick Talk Podcast or Joshua's other businesses, visit our website, quicktalkpodcast.com. Have a blessed day.